Hi there, I'm Kirk. Welcome back to another instalment of our 1000 greatest vinyl videos pulled from this wall behind me. And today I've had a good rummage through and I've pulled out 3 more great albums that I think are well deserving to be in this top 1000 list. Now the first one, we've got a group which, to be honest, these days, still on the go, still recording, still putting out albums. But it's simply a case of you either love them or you hate them, I think. They do very, very well in the charts. A lot of followers, but I also know a lot of people who seem to really hate them. So they're probably the Marmite of popular beat combos. But this is Coldplay, and the album I've picked here today is Parachutes, which is their first full-length album. They did release material before this, and I do actually have their white label EP, Blue Room EP, on 12-inch vinyl. But on here we've got their first proper studio release, and this included early singles that really made a name for them, like Yellow and Trouble. They were the ones that I do remember quite vividly in the charts. Also got Shiver, was another early single. All 3 of them appear on this album, as well as the tracks High Speed and Don't Panic, which both appeared on their demo EP, the Blue Room EP, which I got on promo. Now, I must admit I really like early Coldplay stuff. I went off them later on, and I think, I don't know, there's just something more raw about the earlier sound. The first 2 albums I think are great. The 3rd album, and from there, for me personally, it goes downhill a little bit. They're still immensely popular, so I'm probably in a minority on that. But despite the fact that I wouldn't buy a newer Coldplay album, this album itself I think is superb. Again, not a bad track on this album. It's a really good sonic soundscape. Apart from the singles, apart from the 2 other tracks which I did like from their previous EP, you know, there's just stuff like Spies. We've got Parachutes itself, We Never Change, Everything's Not Lost. It all just works, and there's a real energy to this album. The back cover of this, I'll show you that there. We've got the band picture, and that's really them before they got sort of like mega stars. And it looks like they're on, I can only guess that's something like the sea wall somewhere, like, I don't know, I'll have a guess at Western-super-Mare, probably isn't. This album was released in 2000 on the Parlophone label. The actual sleeve itself, it's not glossy, it's more of a matte finish there. It's still pretty nice, and inside we have a single disc, and this is actually, again, certainly once vinyl became more and more collectible, they really did put a lot more effort into the sound quality you get off these discs through using a much heavier grade of vinyl. So this feels more like some of the other comparatively recent albums that we've reviewed, such as the White Lies LP that was in the last video. We've got all the tracks stretched over the one disc, and I'm just going to have a look actually. Sometimes with these discs you get a little message scratched into the run-out groove from the person who mastered it. Quite often as somebody mics the exchange is a place where a lot of these LPs got mastered. But actually, looking around the middle, there's no little message. I just thought to have a look. I know Kate Bush records, you'll always find a little message there cut into the run-out groove. The next album I've picked, in fact, I had a look at my master list, and I was sure that I'd done this one, but it didn't appear on my master list. And without going through all of the previous videos, I can't find any mention that I've actually done this before. So in case I have, we will sort that out at a later date. But in case I haven't, this is an album that really should be on here. Ben Folds 5, Whatever and Ever, Amen. So if the comment section fills up with, you've already done that, then I'll know that, okay, we made a mistake and we'll make it up in the next video. We'll do 4 instead of 3. Includes the hit single, The Battle of Who Could Care Less. Now, this group I got into by an ex-girlfriend at university, and she was really into Belle and Sebastian and Ben Folds 5. Now, I must admit, I didn't share her love of Belle and Sebastian, but I did share it with Ben Folds 5. And it proved quite tricky to track down on vinyl, but I did manage to find this album. It's probably not their best album. I remember listening to others in her room, which I really did adore, but it's the one I could find on vinyl. And on the front cover picture we've got Ben Folds and the 2 other people in the group. But on the back there we've got a bit of a band picture, and we've got the full track listing. And again, it's one of those quirky little albums where they just kind of, with the piano and everything, it's a different kind of sound that you get from most groups, but it's really, really good. And they've got a real energy. They've got a real, almost like a raw sound. It sounds a bit like they just recorded it in the guy's living room, and it really works so well. They're very imaginative songs, and you could listen to this over and over again. So, deservedly on the list, if it isn't already on the list. Final album I've picked today is, I've gone right back on the rewind here, and this is Billy Joel and Stormfront. Now, Billy Joel is another one of these prolific artists, a bit like Elton John, maybe not as prolific as Elton John, because I don't think anybody could really quite be as prolific as Elton John, but nonetheless, Billy Joel, very, very talented singer-songwriter, and I've decided to pick this album. This is from 1989, and very, very basic cover. We've got this sort of red flag with the black square in the middle. On the back, we've just got a picture of him looking really moody, and he always reminds me of, who's the guy who played Batman in film? What's his name? He was in Pacific Heights as well. The 2 could be doppelgangers, you know who I mean. Michael Keaton. And yes, I knew there was a Michael in that. I knew it. Look at that, doppelganger, eh? Separated at birth. On this album we've got We Don't Start the Fire. That's probably one of his most well-known tracks. Certainly it was a single. Still gets played on the radio an awful lot. It's a great track, and it's well worth it. Listen very, very intently to the lyrics of that track. It is, it's really on the ball. It's factually correct as well, and it's just quick fire, boom, 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 the lyrics of that song. I also recommend wholeheartedly the track Leningrad. Now, Leningrad, I think, is probably the strongest track on this album. Doesn't get played nearly enough on radio, but certainly this album is well worth buying for those 2 tracks alone. But you don't just get those 2 tracks. With Billy Joel, the quality of the music is up there and stays consistent all the way through. So all of the other tracks, perfectly good to listen to, really enjoyable. And because of all that, this package, Billy Joel, Stormfront, is well worth going out and grabbing yourself a copy, and certainly deserves to be in this 1000 list. Well, we've rattled through those, and I hope you like that video. You can always leave some comments in the section below, and if there's any albums that you think that I should be reviewing that I haven't reviewed as yet, chances are I might have it in this wall behind me. But you know the rules. The rules are, if it isn't on vinyl in this wall here, I can't review it, doesn't matter how good the album is. Anyway, you take very good care of yourself, and this is me, Jenny Kirk, until next time, saying bye for now.
My name is Deza. I plow the space lanes, picking up debris and salvaging derelicts. It's a dangerous job, but the pay is good. At least I used to think so, before my ship came across our last derelict. We thought it was the payday of a lifetime. We were wrong. Nobody should have to go through what I did on that derelict. I barely made it out. Now they want me to go back.